This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for the afternoon of Thursday, October 3rd, 2024. I'm Alex Brown. The Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs has launched the Rural Empowerment and Development Program, a capacity building and planning initiative designed to help rural Indiana communities plan and implement projects to spur economic growth. Executive Director Duke Bennett said it became obvious over time that many communities have struggled with coming together to develop actionable quality of life projects.
We've noticed that there's effort going on, but we see that there's a lack of help to facilitate these meetings, these strategic planning sessions. The whole goal is to help people work together so they can accomplish their local projects. And a lot of times we find people work in silos a little bit too much.
3 communities will be selected for the program's first cohort. A new foam fabrication company is bringing work back to a facility in Owensboro, Kentucky, just 4 miles from the Indiana border after the building's closure last month. Foam Solutions said it plans to retain much of the building's former workforce and continue to serve the same customers as it begins operations later this month. The FDA announced Wednesday that the shortage of Eli Lilly and Company's blockbuster weight loss and diabetes drugs is over. Lilly's supply of Mounjaro, which is used to treat type 2 diabetes, and popular weight loss drug Zepbound can now meet present and projected national demand. From the number one source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
IBJ Media, Inside Indiana Business, and the Indiana Economic Development Corporation invite you to the Engage Indiana series, presented by CareSource, Indiana University, and Old National Bank. With an unrelenting focus on growing Indiana's economy, we'll dive into each region's unique challenges and distinct opportunities for growth. 9 regions, 1 goal. Indiana's bold future starts here. Discover more and register at ibj.com/engage.
In 2016, Pete Paradossi became president of the Evansville Regional Business Committee after a 25-year career in the pharmaceutical and healthcare industry. In a Q&A for our Evansville Region Report newsletter, Paradossi said among the group's successes was improving air service out of Evansville Regional Airport.
Specifically post-COVID, with the return of direct service coming up here to Chicago, that's a critical piece of air service that's going to help the region continue to grow. You know, we were hearing from our businesses, not just my board, but our businesses, that the lack of direct service to Chicago was problematic for them. And, you know, getting that returned as soon as possible was a critical business need for the community.
Paradossi was also named to IBJ Media's Indiana 250 list this year. You can read the full Q&A at InsideIndianaBusiness.com. A manufacturer of concrete strength sensors invented by a Purdue University engineering professor has received a nearly $1 million National Science Foundation grant to move towards scaling up production of the technology. WaveLogix received the Small Business Innovation Research Phase 2 grant for a 2-year project set to end August 31st, 2026. Professor and WaveLogix founder Luna Liu said the grant will help the company develop a complete solution for scaling up production. The company's Rebel concrete strength sensing system uses sensors embedded into a fresh pour to monitor the strength of concrete over time in real time. The data collected provides insights into concrete readiness and durability. Liu said the concrete sensing system has the potential to transform the construction industry. From growth at Purdue University to an influx of investment in the semiconductor industry, officials in the greater Lafayette region are bullish about the future of the region. Indiana Secretary of Commerce David Rosenberg says the potential for growth in the region is immense.
You have Purdue University, one of the most innovative universities in the entire world, really leading that charge, developing those partnerships with global companies. When you look at Subaru or GE Aviation, MediaTek, IMEC, Tate & Lyle, all across the board, in addition to SK Hynix, that international presence of Purdue University, the students they bring, is absolutely critical.
IIB brought its Engage Indiana series to West Lafayette this week for a conversation on growth, like plans by South Korea-based SK Hynix to build a nearly $4 billion semiconductor packaging facility at the Purdue Research Park. We'll have more on the region from this week's Engage Indiana series on this weekend's edition of Inside Indiana Business Television. Racer and mechanical engineer Saber Cook is this week's guest on the Business and Beyond podcast with Gary Dick, presented by PNC, a weekly conversation with high-profile Hoosiers in business, sports and entertainment, and beyond. Available now from your favorite podcast provider. I'm Alex Brown for Inside Indiana Business Radio On Demand.